Up, everybody? Welcome to Into the Void podcast, episode 20. It's another gorgeous Thursday night, and us as a community are going to tackle a question, get to the bottom of, is the comic book hobby's vocabulary outdated? Does it hurt the hobby? Can we do anything to make it better? How healthy is the hobby? We're going to touch on all of these factors tonight. It's going to be a free-for-all, thoughts, opinions flying at it. Going to be a good time. And stick around. Oh, we're going to talk some Ahsoka later on. Way later in the night, Ahsoka. And there it was. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping for something more epic.
Something more epic? Oh, yeah.
But no. I love how you were like talking about the health of the hobby,
for sure.
And then the idea that so listen, we're obviously going back to the video that you dropped the other day with the gradings and things like that. And like, man, what a gnarly subjective thing all this is, the entire thing from the top to the bottom. I mean, like, it just really, really is. So I'm excited that we've decided to talk about it because like it's almost like a never-ending battle that no one can win,
Sure.
And then at the end we have to talk about Ahsoka because like my God, what happened on Tuesday?
A lot of great things. All right. So hey guys, real quick, hit the like button for us if you can. If you're in here right now, that really helps push the stream out. We'd appreciate that. We don't have anything news wise, right? Anything news crazy happening? I don't think so.
No house cleaning, you mean?
No house cleaning? Well, house cleaning, let's see. I'm not going to release another video this week. I'm going to release another one next week. I do have one next week. It's going to basically Dr. Plagueis. What is up?
Hey, Doc.
And next week's going to actually be that giant Spider-Man 30 book unboxing that I did is going to be all of that, but what the values of all of those are. So that's going to be an interesting, if you're kind of curious about what some of those values are right now. It's very scary. It's very scary towards the beginning of it. And then at the end of it, it kind of, it gets better. But,
you talk about the books that you just got slabbed up and brought on back?
Yeah. Big old Spider-Man.
Is there like a thing where you can say like what the price you thought it was going to be for and then what it's actually selling for now? I mean, like there's no doubt, as you've said many times before, that the boom from 20 and 21 is over and that things have kind of like self-corrected and gone back to where the values should be,
Right.
Which obviously brings us to the topic of today, with the grading and things like that. It's interesting to see how it moved around,
Yeah, for sure. It's really topic tonight is really going to touch on, let me see if I still got the slide. So if you haven't seen the last video I did, I released 2 videos almost. So this was the first one. So this video here I released, I think on Monday or something, or Saturday. I can't remember when. But I released it a few days ago. It's coming up. This video here, right? And so this video here sparked a little bit of, this is major. This is maybe a tiny little discussion of maybe 9 or 10 people in a comment section. But it's what is being talked about that led me to another video, which was, there was just some discrepancy in this video about what a minor key comic is and what a major key comic is. And this apparently is a debate throughout comics and has been for a long time. So because of that discrepancy, I thought, well, maybe there's some sort of language barrier here with the vocabulary in the hobby. And I was like, well, what if we just kind of tweaked it? Because if the hobby hasn't evolved vocabulary-wise, well, we're still kind of talking out our asses. That was a theory. So I kind of made another video on that theory. And that theory thumbnail is the last one on the page. So if you go to my page, it's the last video I uploaded. And so we're going to elaborate on that tonight because I really think the video was 8-9 minutes, but I think we could talk about it for a bit because I think I'd love to hear everybody else's opinion on all that. So get this jerk off the screen. We're basically going to dive into, who defines, how do you define a minor versus a major key, and can it be improved to maybe stop pointless bickering? amongst a certain part of the hobby? I don't know. Endlessly.
I think so. What you have to like kind of like look around and analyze is the fact that everybody's going to have their own idea of what it is going to be. It just
Yeah.
is. It just is. I mean, like it's really one of
Mhm.
those things where it can turn friends into enemies, and unfortunately, a lot of this has to do with money, and
Yes.
people they want to value their stuff higher, and that's fine. So I mean,
Mhm.
it's like I said, one of the comments you had to deal with was somebody saying, and look, the person who was doing the comments, and whenever I read the comments, I kind of think to myself, like, well, everybody in their own way is self-righteous behind a keyboard, and I don't blame them. I mean, they have their own opinions and things like that. But
Yeah.
the one that obviously keyed up on the last video was somebody saying, if you're not collecting gold, go home.
Yeah.
Gold keys, go home. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so listen, I mean, the reality is I have a job. I own my own business. I'm doing well. I don't collect gold because I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I place no value in the gold keys. Like
Right.
I don't need the second appearance of Iron Man where he's calling everybody lad and dame. I don't care.
Mhm.
It doesn't means nothing to me. So I mean, I won't collect that. I'm not going to collect the golden keys. I mean, if somebody wants to give me a great deal on one, sure, but I mean, it's just not something I'm looking at. I mean,
Yeah.
so consequently, you're looking at things that you enjoy, and I know that we keep coming back to the same damn thing where you say like collect what you enjoy, but I mean, you kind of got to look at it that way.
Mhm.
And as far as grading, I mean, my God, man, it's so subjective. Like when
Grading is
somebody
great.
says something is very fine, and I'm looking at eBay,
Mhm.
I still have to look at the picture. I'm not like, well, there, it's fine. That means it's going to have 1 to 2 ticks and this, that, and the other. No, it's just
Right.
whatever
Well,
they think it is.
sure, and that's why CGC was created, because there needs to be. And here's so all right. Let's backtrack. Here's what the point of that video was that if you look at the past 30 years of comics and how much has changed with the movies that have come out, the art that's happening, all these things, right? The amount of homages that's happened, so many things. But most of the vocabulary that we were using back then, like one of my examples was to define the era, the modern age, which different groups are going to kind of like hover around a different starting point of the modern age. So Heritage Auction is going to start in the very early 80s, and then most other sites and companies are going to start in like the mid 80s until now. So it's a 30. So the modern age is a 36-year era of comics. So when I look at that, and I look at a lot of the arguments in comics, with down to the art stuff, the AI stuff, the I don't know. I mean, even the first appearance stuff, right? The spec stuff. Is it all because are we just not keeping up with our shit? Like, should we have started a new era? Like, are we just kind of like laxy daisy being like, yep, still the modern era? Minor key, major key. Yeah, there's two categories. There's not a lot more possibilities than just two categories for characters. But I don't think it has to be super complex, because if you watch the video, it's pretty straightforward. There's 5 categories of keys is what I kind of like, the idea I put forward.
We're out of precious
And
metal.
huh?
We're out of precious metal.
Yeah,
We've got
yeah.
gold, we've got silver, we've got bronze, we've got copper. What is it next? Tungsten?
Well,
We're living in the tungsten era,
well, I always thought like Pixel Age would have been cool. The Pixel era, the Pixel Age, or the digital or Pixel, or even the variant age. But to me, things like renaming your era is good exercise for the hobby, right? The fact that nobody has tried to, I've heard a couple of podcasts like throw it around, but it's nothing that's like sweeping over the community and like petitions and like flyers. Hey, hit like on this and pass this around. Like, let's redefine our era of comics and get out of the fucking modern age. It's like there's no proactivity to kind of like keep the hobby that is, by its inherent design, on its deathbed. It's physical media, right? Comic shops aren't doing the greatest right now. The MCU isn't doing the greatest right now. So there's a lot of like negative things surrounding the hobby. And it's just like, it feels like people need to be more proactive to like, hey, let's start like kind of getting up to the times. How can we make it better and things like that? And I feel like defining your era is something that is indicative of the people that I don't know, trying to like kind of keep it going. Like, why aren't we trying to do stuff like that?
Like every 10 years, just make it a different era. I mean, like you can never escape
Like,
the
yeah,
modern. We're always going to be in the modern era. But I mean, what do we call
technically,
2000?
right? Yeah,
Yeah, 2010 to 2020. Like I was just joking. Like I
yeah,
said, the tungsten, excuse me, the tungsten era, the palladium era. I don't know. I
yeah,
mean, like, what do we? Because we're going to run out of things. It's got to be something. It's got to be something else. And I mean, like, obviously, we're joking around. We're not going to keep just naming metals and things like that and go. But I
sure.
mean, I think that all of this was done in an attempt to place a higher value in what you have or what you collected. Like
Hmm.
we're trying to honor the people, the old heads who've still held on to their golden books. Like he has like 10 golden keys, and it's always like an 80-year-old guy. You know what I'm saying, or something like that, or a younger person who's bought all these things. But I mean, like
Right.
it's almost like a way to show like a respect to people who have these things from the past. Like these are golden age books, and like,
Yeah.
oh hey, look, if you look at my wall and my things like that, I mean, everything I have is basically a modern book. I have a few older books, but I mean,
Yeah.
like maybe you or somebody would walk into my house and be like, "Ha, why do you collect any of this trash at all?" Like, because it makes me happy, guy. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely. And the other part of that video was the whole. Okay, so if like another thing that okay, well, like okay, when you think about like what's great about the hobby and what's fun about it is the conversations of who would win in a fight between who and who,
I like this.
or
Let's go.
like yeah, stuff like that, like the good bickering and the fun debate stuff, right? And it just seems like with everything right now, I don't know, like there's a lot of negativity with the way people collect, a lot of people looking down on the way certain people's collect. You got a lot of old people who pretty much condemn slabbing, condemn speculation, right? They're annoying.
Mhm.
And then you've got they are. I mean, I don't think some of those. Pardon me if you're an older collector. I mean, I've talked to a lot of really cool older collectors that understand the new ways of collecting and slabbing and stuff. But the hobby really does need to evolve to stay current. And I think, and it feels like a lot of people in the hobby look at some of the ways that it's evolving and saying, "You're what's wrong with the hobby." When really you got to step back and let everybody just be in the hobby. Yeah, this guy.
This guy, watch out for him.
Yeah, we hate that guy. So that's kind of like so that's kind of part of it too. And then that video again was about minor key versus major key. And what I was getting at was that of all of the arguments and things that we could have, it's like, well, what if we can eliminate one? And which is obviously the minor versus major key argument. I didn't realize it was that big of an argument until I made a damn video about it. And then apparently it is like, I mean, people are like, no, you go, that's not a minor key. You want no, like, I'm like, wow. I'm like, I didn't realize it was that serious or that that vast of an opinion. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, well, okay, well, why is it that way? Well, I was like, okay, so you got these characters and then you got two categories. I was like, well, there's two categories. I was like, that's probably why that is that way. And it's kind of hard to just say you're either this or you're either that. And that's why I use grading as a good example of something, a part of the hobby that has evolved, that's brought a lot of money back into the hobby through grading and a lot of interest in different ways. And grading has evolved. When grading first came out, there was like 3-4 grades. It was, near mint, very fine, poor. It was like really very primitive. And now
Yeah.
there's a lot of it. There's a lot because it's complex. It's a complex thing.
It's
And
called protecting your money. Listen, I mean, and I don't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
you
Keep your
good.
train of thought, but listen, the way the world works, it's all about money. Unfortunately, I'd like to say it's altruistic and like, hooray for the love of it, but it really isn't. It's like if I say this book is worth $2, but you say it's worth one, I mean, where are we at? So you created these micro plus minuses because like now you're protecting your investment, and the companies want to give that to you as well, like CGC, CBCS, like all that stuff like that. They're trying to protect your money. Like, you're gonna be really pissed if you get like like an A minus. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not even minus, but like a minus. If you're in school, you'll get an A minus.
Mhm.
Get a near mint or 9.4.
Compared to like a 9.0.
Yeah, so it's like they give you the little micros in there to keep you coming back. Everything is geared to make money. I think if everybody kind of took the blinders off and just agreed that everybody's trying to protect their investments. The person who's saying that they only collect golden keys is saying that because they have golden keys, and they look at your wall behind you and they're like, ha, what's this guy talking about? He doesn't know anything. There's no
Right.
major keys behind there. So he's just
Yeah.
saying his is the best, and yours is, you're just a middling peasant who has
Yeah.
minor keys or no keys on your wall. It's just a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's made to CGC. Obviously, yes, was made to create money, but complex grading came out before CGC. Complex grading came out before people paid to get somebody to grade their books. It was in the Overstreet Price Guide. They were the first people to create the 10-point grading scale, and then years later,
But for money, to make money on books.
But they weren't great. But they weren't grading books though.
Okay.
They weren't good. They were really the biggest comic reference guide on the market. They priced your books, and then they had in their pricing was based off of the grades, but it's not like they saw any of that money. They were just a magazine that you just bought once a year.
Mm-hmm.
So they had really no incentive to create. But I think what happened was, I mean, old collectors, please speak up in the chat too, because look, compared to y'all, I'm nothing. I'm new. So but what I'm thinking happened was back in the day, when you had something like near mint, very fine, poor, and somebody's like, well, near mint is this much, very fine is this much, and poor is this much. Well, if you're off out of those three categories, the dollar amount value is going to be huge. And then there could also be a subjective form for that. What you say is near mint, as I say is very fine. By creating more categories in between those 2 points, you might be able to come to a closer consensus between two people grading a book. So I think, as a book it's extremely complex, especially the amount of things that can happen to it in the wear. I think the 10-point grading system to grade comics needed to happen to evolve with the comics, because people didn't really, Mylar bags weren't invented until 1979. People weren't thinking about protecting their comics until 1979. And then once people got into that, now grading is a thing. So now grading got more complex. It's just evolution of the hobby,
It's funny that we get to a point where we're not even caring about the stories. Okay, so just talking about this, because I know this wasn't the thrust of what we're doing, but it's funny because it's no longer about the stories. It's almost looked down upon if you actually open up the book and read it, because you're gonna crinkle the spine or something like that. I mean, I read every one of the books. Somebody in the chat asked if we read them before we slap them, and look, I'll speak for you in a way. Oh, you don't? I've held
all of these books. I've read the X-Men books. I've read. I never read the Spawn books.
Okay, but I'm saying, because I physically held those books and looked at them. They weren't just you didn't just receive them and go put.
I don't buy slab books, no.
Yeah, and I don't either. And like I said, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, you want to buy a slab book because it's art that you want to hold, and you have that little number at the top that signifies what it's worth. That's great. That's an investment you've made, and it's hopefully it'll hold for forever, and you'll enjoy it. Again, I don't care how you enjoy your books. I'm just glad that people are buying books, because that keeps the hobby going for me.
Yeah.
The more that you buy, the better. I don't care if you're cover chasing. I don't care whatever the hell you're doing. It doesn't mean I have to do it.
Right.
But it's funny that I've often puzzled about people writing these stories. If somebody knows that there's going to be an Art Germ cover, or just being generic, a Gabriel Deodato cover, does it even matter what the story is? If there's going to be a variant with a John Christopher Myers cover on top of it? I mean, are people even reading the books? The answer probably is no in a lot of cases. When you look at selling platforms like Whatnot, I mean, I don't believe people buy the books and even take them out of the
to read them now on Whatnot. Probably not.
I think they just peddle them again or slap them and try and sell them. It's just a currency thing there.
Yeah, no, you're right. That is an avenue of the hobby. I think the most people reading the books are the people going to Jeremy Sparks, going to New Comic Book Day, and going in there, which is a very important part of the health of the hobby as well. For me, so I don't do New Comic Book Day unless I really see a series that strikes me. I'll go in and get it. But other than that, what I try to do to support my local comic shop is I'll go get some supplies from them or something instead of ordering it from Amazon. So I'll show up and buy $200 of bags and boards and short boxes to kind of keep that money, because that is an important part of the health of the hobby as well. Is those comic shops, for sure. But let's check out some of the chat. What we got going on?
That's good stuff. I mean, like I said, like it's good, you know.
The key video really sparked some conversation in my group chat. What
Good.
chime in on? Yeah, and that is also too. That was one of the videos, and I'm sorry, that's one of the thoughts that was in my head before. I was like, because there's a moment before any video I do, I'm like, do I want anybody and everybody or whoever to see this? And I thought the worst thing that could happen is that it strikes up a conversation. And
Yeah.
I do think even if, and let's say that idea that I have of kind of expanding the key categories completely falls flat. Everybody hates it. Nobody likes it. At least like it got a conversation going. At least it made people think, more. And it's just things like that are good for the hobby. To just be complacent, complain, and just kind of judge other people in what way they like to collect is not. But having conversations about, hey, what's an idea? Could this make the hobby better? That's a healthy interaction within the hobby.
And you mentioned Jeremy Sparks real quick. Just it's important because, like I said, we've had him on here before, and we like him very much. And he reads almost strictly indie comics. And now I could be a butthole and be like, oh, indie comics. But the thing is like I like him as a person. So when I look at what he's reading or what he's putting out there, I go, what am I missing? What am I missing? And I want to learn from him. So when you get these chats and people are commenting on YouTube and your videos and things like that, I think that it's fun to have discourse. It is. You and I don't disagree on a lot of stuff, and we have fun laughing at each other about it. Yeah. And it's fun to enjoy each other. It doesn't need to be mean or spiteful or like pick on personalities and things like that. But I mean, it's okay to have healthy disagreements. That's kind of how the world works, and it should be, I mean,
But certain topics weed out the unhealthy disagreement people. You just kind of like somebody will show their true colors based off of if they disagree with you or not. And like I said in that first video, there were a ton of people that absolutely had a difference of an opinion and just had a nice conversation in the comment section. That's cool. Let's see. Let's look at this one. Humor me. Punchline's first appearance. Key rating. Okay. So this one. So initially I go minor initially, saying that would be a minor key. I wouldn't call it a macro key, not by any means. I would say, of villains that have come out recently, I feel like she's pretty cool. What, you don't like her?
Go on, finish your thought first.
No, I'm just saying, like, I feel like she's kind of been well received. I don't think she was a one and done. So I would lean towards, I don't necessarily, because her first appearance, probably not hard to get a hold of, her first appearance, and it's probably not too expensive. So I'm gonna say
like her cover A is not hard to get a hold of.
Yeah.
Say your grade first, and I'll tell you about her.
I'm gonna say she's minor, due to, not macro by any means, minor because of her popularity amongst readers, but her scarcity is not giving her that push to become a mid key. I think she's kind of too easy to obtain, and the price point's not there to make it a mid key. That's just my opinion.
Again, you're probably right. Listen, just on a personal side note, I thought Punchline appeared right at the times where comic books were like, hey, we can make a ton of variants and sell them. I think Punchline appeared right in there. So maybe I'm biased because I felt like, I know people do like Punchline, but I think Punchline was just sold or appeared to sell a bunch of covers. And that's kind of how I feel. And maybe that's not fair of me. And I have one of her first appearances. I wanted to see what it was all about too. And Punchline appeared at the back of the Batman books for a while as well. Like she was like a side story in the back when she was in prison and things like that. And it was okay, so I mean, but look, some people really swear by Punchline. So if that's the case, I mean, look, if you love her, if she's your favorite character, maybe it's not a minor key to you. Maybe you really need it. I don't know.
There's always that. Of course, there's always that to be said about anything. Like one guy in the last video, one guy commented saying, man, he's like, you're overthinking this. He's like, it's just price. He's like, it's all about price. Of course, Deadpool's not a minor key anymore. He's a $300 comic book. And I'm like, but it can't just be about price. There's multiple factors, because if it was just about price, somebody working minimum wage, there's a lot of comics that they can't afford. So they're all major keys for somebody who doesn't have any money.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and then in that sense too, so if I have an ASM 300 first appearance of Venom and I 0.5 CGC, that's probably $100 book. So there's a lot of books that are more expensive than that. So is that not a major key anymore because it's $100 book? Like, so it's not just about price. For sure, it's not just about price. There's multiple factors. So anybody who's new in the chat right now, my kind of thoughts on Punchline was that she's definitely not a micro key because she's just too beloved amongst readers. But the availability and the her price point for her first appearance is just kind of too easy to get a hold of to make it like a major key. Now, unless she has some sort, so I would put her in the minor key category unless she has some sort of like film debut and gets loved on screen or has like a home run with like her own solo series that's just like blowing it out the water kind of deal. So that's my thought on that.
I think that they're going to eventually use her in something bigger. I think that she got caught up. For me, I think she got caught up when the cover collecting came out. She's probably a really cool character. I kind of like, and again, I apologize, Doc. Maybe I should read up more and shut my mouth. But if you love her, man, I'm listening because like I want to learn. But I mean, I kind of like got caught up with the fact that she was just a bunch of covers. Like all the sexy DC women were always on these covers together. But look, now that you've mentioned it, I mean, look, I haven't gone to my LCS yet. Maybe I'll go take a look. Maybe you can find me on Instagram and tell me what I should be reading, man. Look, here I am. I'm a reader. I'd like to know, so.
And then Captain Comics, what's up? And then where'd you get that? I think where'd you get that was the one that said, maybe was the one that was saying about the price. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I read a few comics today, but glad you came. There was a couple people I talked to. I was like, come chat with us in the
please
chat.
do. Love it.
Fingers and Toes, always a pleasure. That's family right there. That is chat family.
Had some beers with them over the weekend, watching some boats go by.
Dude,
in the lock.
I'm sorry,
Emily.
Dude,
no,
I'm
you are sorry. You're lost.
It is my loss. I was complaining about that later on at night. I was like, damn.
Look, this is important. This is important right here. Lonnie says this right here. He goes, he's talking about the books because Lonnie was asking about, do you read them before you slab them? I do read them before I slab them. But Lonnie has said, I read them, then bag them. They're put away with the hope of my granddaughter enjoys them as much as I did, if not more. Then she's free to do as she wants. By the way, I'm 68 years young. Congratulations. Nice. Fuck yes. Continue reading, continue collecting, and absolutely send these books to your granddaughter. Hell yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's great. For me, it depends. It depends on the condition they're in. It depends if I have another copy. It depends on, multiple things. But there is one thing that I'm having more and more issue parting with, and that is not being able to not even read it. Hold the book in its pages in its purest form before it goes in the slab. So, for instance, there's one of my favorite books that I own because of its scarcity and its rarity and I marvel at its condition. And it's not even I'm a huge Poison Ivy fan. I'm a fan of comic books also, and I just love when I have something that's just cherished, right? So I got a Batman 181 that is like probably a VF plus, right? This book, to hold it in your hands, a first appearance of Poison Ivy, and to open up to that splash page, where literally, I mean, and I look at it as history as well, comics, where these figures have entered pop culture for the first time. It's fascinating to me. And when I open that splash page and I see, boom, there it is, and to hold that book in that condition, that is just something that I'm not going to be able to do if I slab it. That really, really sucks. But it is to a grade that it really should be slabbed for preservation purposes at this point because it's such high grade. So that's definitely a conflict I'm running into with a lot of books lately. Saga.
We've talked about it before. Yes. So everybody, this was my book. I opened it. I read it twice. And before I read it, it was probably a 9.8. Now it's a 9.6. I had it slabbed because I wanted it done. But I've read this book online, but I never owned it. Now I own it. It's mine. And this is one that I've read and I enjoyed it and it's great. Now it's slabbed and now I'll never have to worry about it again. Maybe I'll pick up another a reader copy later on. But I mean, that's like I said, it's cool to see these moments where these people first appear. 100%, Johnny. And even if it's like an old book, look, I will tell you something. There's something to be said about a book that's beat to hell. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and there you go, and you because that means somebody read it a million times.
Yeah.
If somebody's
Yeah.
drawn on something, a mustache from Spider-Man, or like
Yeah.
that's fine too. I mean, obviously you're not going to grade it or slab it, but I mean, I have a few books that you've given me that you're like, hey, look, the first appearance of White Queen.
Yeah.
I've got it. It's really cool, dude. You know, I'm not going to do anything with it other than enjoy it. I'm gonna look at it and read
Sure.
it. You know,
Yeah.
so hell yeah, that
Hell
way.
yeah. Let's see. Dr. Plagueis says maybe conversation was the wrong word with the key ratings you listed. We were just arguing over first appearances and where they fell in the rating system. Yeah, for sure. Yep. Absolutely. Uh, and like I said in that video too, I said that's still gonna happen, but I feel like maybe not as much. Like for instance, I did like a little faux. Okay, for instance, watch. I'll show you. I was playing around with this, and maybe we can make this into a game for the future. But let me see if I can pull this up quickly. Yeah, I understand this. Okay, y'all see that? You see that on the screen?
The tier list maker.
Yeah.
Did you create a template? Are you really
I did.
pushing this out into the world? I love this. Yes,
I did. So I did one, and it's called, and there should be an icon. I mean, kind of like a thumbnail for it. It's called Tears for Fears, TIERS, and it's got the band on it reading comic books.
Of course.
So here, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but so you got the five categories that I was playing around with: blue chip, major, mid, minor, micro. I like that most of them start with an M. I think that's super easy. I feel like if you're gonna make something more complicated, make it the easiest to digest as possible. So micro, minor, mid, major, blue chip. And I did this, like I just randomly like screenshotted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books on my phone, sent it to the site here. And I was like, okay, let me see how quickly I can do this. Okay, blue chip. I don't know if you can see this well or not. Amazing Fantasy 15, blue chip key, major key, Deadpool, Batman 271, iconic. That's really a cover key, almost you can call it, but I would put that as a major key. Conan #1, I would put as a major key.
I
Lobo.
disagree, sir. I disagree. I don't think it's a major key, sir.
I mean, okay, that's
No.
cool, but I mean, like I think a lot of people would agree. Conan #1's major, dude. Real quick, side note: whenever I did that '80s Comic Con thing, reaction video, there were so many people. I'm sorry, there was so many footage of Conan stuff. Like I cut a lot of it out. They were all about Conan back then.
Yeah,
all about Conan. It was
I just wanted to
huge.
flash comic book guy. Conan #1 is probably a major key. I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, it was huge. First Lobo, I would put as a mid key for sure. And then these two down here, you've got the classic Todd McFarlane cover, Newsstand. I would say that would be a micro key. And then a minor key. And then first appearance of Maria Rambeau, I would say would be a micro key.
And it's minor key. The Spider #1's micro because it's out there so much. Correct? It's not hard to get.
It's I put it as a minor. It was a newsstand variant, but I mean, I think it's minor just because of how monumental that cover is. You know what I'm saying? Like how that cover. I mean, it sparked so many.
Jeez, don't say it. Don't say it because you're gonna make 5 more exist by tomorrow.
But dude,
don't say the word with the H.
And I was thinking, but that's a great segue. Because, so check it out. I was like, okay, so after I made that video, I was like, is there any other words that are outdated and we need to rethink and be like, okay, what does this mean? Yes. Homage. Homage, 100%. There needs to be a consensus on, I mean, it's art. You can't really stop anybody from doing anything. But what's sad is that homage should really is now getting turned into ripoff. I mean, people are using classic covers to just print money, to rip them off. I hate that. I think is not good for the hobby at all. I just don't think how
about like a cash grab cover?
Cash grab. Yeah, cash grab. Yeah, that's a good name for it. A cash grab cover. You do it the first time, second time, third time, maybe up to 4 times. Homage. Okay. After a thing's been homaged 100 times, it's cash grab. It's just a cash grab at this point.
When Darkhawk had the Spider-Man homage, I was like, yeah, we're done. We're done, man. I mean, like, and then you find yourself like looking. Remember, like it was a Darkhawk. What's the one that no one like? Everybody collects a whole bunch of it. Is it Darkhawk? I feel weird.
Darkhawk, yeah. Darkhawk,
but
yeah. Mm-hmm.
everybody's like, "Ooh, Darkhawk's gonna be amazing," and then he had like the Spider-Man homage. I'm like, "Come on, guys, are you serious? Like everything
Yeah.
has a Spider-Man homage." And then the other one is obviously gonna be the Wolverine blades. The Wolverine with the Hulk and the blades, and you're like, God, everything. Like.
Yeah.
There was an X-23 that came out with the Deadly Regenesis, and I was like, "Oh, look! Oh, fuck! It's an homage." And look, if you like it, you like it, enjoy it. But I mean, it's not for me.
Yeah,
It's not
sure.
for me. All right, so continue on here.
Well, I mean, that was that low game. I mean, obviously, that only took a. But I mean, there is more that we could do. We could definitely, I kind of wish I would have sent more photos, and we can play a bigger version of this with everybody. And kind of get a vote. Like, okay, like in the chat. All right, ASM. We can really actually reset it and get everybody to redo it. But I kind of think it spoiled it now that I've already played with it.
The thing, Johnny, is if you try and breathe this out in the world, the comic book Goodfellas are going to come find you, and they're going to murk you, and they're going to put you in the bottom of the ocean in lead boots because you're trying to change how they do things. And
I'm not. Look, I'm not trying to take anything away. All I'm trying to do is put in a little more. I'm just trying to make people think. What do they call it?
Retconning?
Existentially.
Oh, whoa, go on.
I don't know,
maybe I will drink a beer.
No, I mean, take a look at and just see if anything can be approved. Like, don't be complacent, and
who does it get approved by though? Do we go to Todd McFarlane himself?
Okay, no, and that was one of the things when we were talking earlier. I was like, oh shit, I had a thought and then I lost it. So here's one of the, not an issue, but I don't know if this would help the hobby or not. But there is no oversee of the hobby, right? There is no oversee. The closest thing was probably the Overstreet price guide back in the day, but there is no the comic book hobby, almost like the Comics Code Authority, but they were more for censorship. But there is no Comics Code Authority that is kind of in charge of the hobby, that kind of takes into account look, these are the things that's been going on. These new definitions are these are getting recognized amongst the community type of thing. They're kind of and I feel like it hasn't needed it so far in the hobby. And I'm not saying that it does, but I'm just wondering what could be the benefit if there was, almost like another Overstreet price guide to come out each year and say here's what's new in the hobby. Here's what we've learned from it. Here's what's bad. Here's what to watch out for. A list of people that have, ghost bought stacks of books and never paid. You know what I'm saying? Somebody to kind of report to and refine and rethink. I don't know.
You're literally saying the Supreme Court of comics. I mean,
listen, the Supreme Court of comics.
You get elected by giving up your entire comic book collection and wearing big flowy robes all day, and you get fed.
You get one rail.
No, you can't even, because you'll try and cherish it above all. I don't know. So what you're saying is something that's it's cool, but there's no governing agency for comics. So it's just out there.
No, there's not. It's just out there.
And then it's literally it's like a TP community where you step out of your TP and I have this book. Would you like to buy this book? How much for? We've given a rating to everything, but literally almost like the rating doesn't matter, because when I go to shows and I'm okay, I know that this book is worth $90 on cover price, but the person has it for $105. I'm like, well, excuse me, sir, the cover price says $95, and they're like, it's $105, or don't get it, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I'm pushing up my glasses. I'm like, but the 9.6 it doesn't matter. It's just everything is just a suggestion, because I just sold a Riri Williams a slab book that it cost me $30 to do, and I just sold it for $20. Right. So I know it was worth $30, but I sold it for $20 because that's what the market would bear for it.
Sure. No, you're right. No, it is everything. So much of this, because it's a subjective hobby. The grading is subjective. The art and stories are subjective. All of it is subjective. So it can get a little convoluted, for sure. But I guess my whole way of thinking was, how long? Because I'm just thinking way in the future, right?
Okay. How
long, with the hobby changing and evolving through AI, the mass amount of variance? Okay, I'm gonna throw something at you. Big problem with the hobby. So AI, mass amount of variance, the low transparency on retailers, that you really don't know what the actual print count is, right? Big problem right now in the hobby. There's no integrity amongst distributors saying, hey, it's a 3,000 print count. Well, we just found 2,000 more in the back. That's a big problem right now with the hobby. If you were to have a comics consensus, group, committee, whatever, and all of that was controlled by these people of like, look, you have to report to these people of what your print count is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like the Comics Code Authority wasn't. It was a group of people that were just made up because the problem arose that needed an answer. So they just created a Comics Code Authority.
They're like the anti-vandalism league. No one liked them.
So,
it's like
yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I'm just thinking like, and so that's another thing that's problem with right now with the hobby for sure is the variance, not the variance, but it's the retailers. The print count transparency is a big problem.
You also got to say like, okay, again, like stepping back, just using my business brain again. So in life, I always, when people are talking to me and they say, hey, let me help you. Let me show you this great deal. And you and I have talked about this. We're both businessmen. And I say, well, how do you make money on this? And they're like, no, I really just want to help you. I've got this good thing. No.
Right.
How do you make money? If they tell me that they don't make money on it, then I'm like, well, then this is pointless for you and clearly pointless for me. So, I mean, when you look at the people like Diamond, and all those people who print the books and things like that, I would have to think, and again, I'm not trying to be like naive, but I would have to think that they don't necessarily care what collectors and third market people are making on the books. There's got to be a reason why they're not letting the print runs go. And it's not because they're worried about like the Comic Toms of the world who are like, making money on these variants and things like that. I mean, they make these books by demand. I mean, like there's books that get low print runs because there's not a high demand for them, and that's because Marvel or DC or Image or Aftermath or all these companies like that, they're like, oh well, this book's not really selling, we're about to kill it, so we're going to make it a low print run. Okay, and as soon as there's a low print run, people are like, oh shit, it's more rare, so let's take this garbage book that's about to end and then pump it up, and it's now it's a rare book. And or sometimes you have the thing where there's like the third printing, and these things make a lot of money because they're rare. It's just it's all over the place, and I wouldn't know how you'd have to have like a universal grading. It's kind of hard, I don't know.
And that was my whole idea. And like, I don't get it twisted. Anybody listen, I'm not trying to create a fucking I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. I'm just trying to think forward, think progressive, because if you want the hobby to survive, that is what you have to think of. You have to look at the problems now. It's just like anything, right? Just like anything that you want to see prolong, you have to try to foresee the problems that are going to be down the line. And right now, there is just a lot of things popping up that's just like not good for comics. We're in the midst of a giant correction. There's a lot of bickering and pointless arguments amongst. There's just, I've never seen after COVID, I've never seen so much negativity like on social media. You know what I'm saying? About people, like how they just talk to other people and like how they like to collect and stuff like that. I'm just like, wow, like people are getting angry about stuff. It's crazy.
I think you're 100% right. Hey, get this out of the way. I want to see your pretty face. Get this out of the way. You're feeling all passionate. You just leave that up on the screen. Listen, and I'll look directly to the people. The way that you say the comment. Yeah.
No, I don't think that's no. That's not your camera lens. That wasn't your camera lens. There you go. Right there. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's it.
Like cross-eyed. The way you say the comic book community is actually going and buying the books. Buying books. Buy them, read them, collect them, roll them up and put them in your back pocket. But if you don't buy them, they're going to stop making them. So I mean, you can collect all your slabs and your keys and your goldens, and then we won't have any new comic books because let's be honest, you talked about the AI, you talked about everything else going on, and eventually the paper comics were going to go away. They're just going to have to. So how do we save at least good storytelling? Because like all that cover stuff is going to go away.
And that's what I'm saying. Like if there was, I'm just spitballing ideas. If there was like a governing comic community, could they put a stop to AI? Like completely taken, not approved by whatever the hell it is. I don't know, because that is something in the future that is going to be, it's going to get bigger and bigger, and it's going to be a problem. I don't want to jump into AI conversation because I'm kind of sick of talking about it. But it's just one of those things that's coming. for sure. Um, but yeah, I don't know what other thoughts, chat. What I mean, what else is going on right now in the hobby that is just bugging y'all?
Well, let's look at fingers and toes right here. He goes,
What
is
you
it
got?
negativity because folks lost money perceived or reality? Or do you think it's just like Star Wars where I can't say that last word, where what?
Where there's just a very cool minority of angry types.
I think that the look the thing about comics and any kind of collectibles that everybody's self-important. Actually, the thing about
Hmm.
life in general is everybody's self-important. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, like the world gets along better when you can just acknowledge that somebody who's got more or is better than you is just more and better than you. You know, it's okay if like if I come across every doctor and I'm like, fuck you, you think you're so smart. I'm like, well, he's got a doctorate or she's got a doctorate. But if I'm like, well, I'm smarter, that's where things
hmm,
become a problem. So when you have collectibles, people are just gonna say like they're going to look at your 9.8 and they're going to be like, well, it's not as good as my 9.8. It really does get down to that, or I've got this special, what is it? The top thing they put them on, John, you get now the 9.8 with the Spider-Man, the spirit fingers. What is
oh,
it?
the custom label.
Yeah, then it can kind of get down to custom labels and things like that. I just, you know, uh, yes, walk. But I think that everybody, I think that everybody, again, like I said, everybody is very self-important. Everybody needs to be seen and, check me out and look what I have is better than yours. It just is what it is. It's human nature to be competitive. It'd be,
It
it would
is.
be, it would be amazing if you had people who were just like, hey, look, man,
But
it is this way. And that's how it
and,
is.
and here's the thing. So they got a guy that's on Instagram. Y'all probably seen him. Josh's comic books. His platform is pretty much kind of cool that his whole platform is for showcasing other people's stuff. And he often tries to ask some thought provoking questions or some conversation starters, which is great. But he's 100% fuck. He's definitely fuck FOMO. He's definitely fuck a lot of this stuff, right? A lot of different things. But one of his best little videos was he's like, one of the best advices he's like somebody ever said was, don't worry about what the other person has. Like, be happy with your own collection.
Absolutely.
And I'm just like, dude, I was like, dude, I didn't comment on many of his videos, but I was like, dude, this is the best advice that you could put out into the comic world right now. Like, for myself included, because there's certain things that I see, like certain, when you see something that's so great and so big, there's like, it blows the inspiration out the water. It doesn't like inspire you. It just makes you feel like giving up. Like, oh my God, like I can't even, like, that's not even a reality for me. Right. Just when you see people like that, you're like, oh, it's like, I need to let that shit go. Everybody does, of course, but it's a good public service announcement is what it is.
Absolutely. Good case in point here. Like, we right in this room right now, I know what we can do. Okay. So you like horror comics,
Yeah,
I don't hate them. I don't like or collect them, but I'm glad that you have them. I'm happy for you.
yeah,
So if I see something you point out that's cool and it's horror, I'm like, oh, cool. So consequently, when I see horror stuff, I'm kind of like, oh, I wonder if John would like this. I wonder if this is worth anything. And that is, it just puts like good vibes out in the area.
sure.
I know that Fingers and Toes likes Star Wars. I know that Emily likes Star Wars. I know that John O. Silver Surfer likes cosmic stuff and horror stuff as well. And Silver Surfer. I know
Yeah.
Intensi Walk likes to just fuck up the program for everybody.
Dude,
you know,
Intense Ewok, literally, he did bring Uncanny Spider-Man into existence. Thank you, sir.
he jumps around on podcasts and the whatnot shows, and he always asks everybody for books that just absolutely don't exist, and
Yeah.
it throws him off. And he used to say Uncanny Spider-Man, and lo and behold, Marvel has put out Uncanny Spider-Man #1 last week. Boom.
Can you excuse me for one sec?
Yeah, get out of here.
Can you hold it down for like just a moment?
Oh God, no.
Hold on.
Off he goes. It always gets so tricky when he takes off. But the reality is the whole thing that we were talking about with you okay over there, John? The reality is that like people should really just collect what they want. I mean, like there's a lot of books that I buy that I'm like, oh damn, I probably shouldn't have read this, but I keep reading them to see if they get any better, and then finally I find out they just don't, and it's a terrible thing, But let's see here. Yeah, get out of here, guy. Let's see here. So Lonnie, you were talking about comic book cards and things like that. I'm interested. Can you find me on Instagram here? Where's that little Instagram thing at? Where are you at? Welcome back.
Okay. Is walking?
I want to talk comic book cards too.
Yes. Okay,
Lonnie,
we can do that.
Yeah.
Walks in here.
Walk, are you still here? Let us know. Do you have a copy of it?
What?
Do you have
Spider-Man?
Uncanny Spider-Man?
I don't.
Hey, you know what I have, Johnny? Can I tell you
What you got?
something?
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
I made this in honor of last week's episode.
Okay.
Possibly a little.
Oh my God. That's beautiful.
Fuck you,
That
Frank.
is beautiful. Wow.
Woo!
Gorgeous.
This is in lieu of the guy that graded all Johnny's books last week.
That is funny. Walk's an X-Men fan, right?
Yeah.
You are an X-Men fan?
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with the would this be a minor key? I would call this
Oh.
I would call this a minor key. No, I don't know.
Let's play the game.
I would call this a mid key.
Mid key.
Because I would call this a mid key because it's iconic, man. It's monumental. It kind of changed a lot of things. Walk, do you have issue? Let's see, X-Men 114, and if you do you know the significance of it?
Jesus, you're about to get a really random answer, and first of all, I was going to say no. Just let him cook for a second. He's thinking it up. I guarantee you, he's thinking about it. You know?
Yeah.
Look, take his time as well. Yeah. Well, we knew that. I don't know what book X-Men 114 is.
You know?
Let's see it. Yeah, come on. Oh yeah, I like that cover. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool cover.
What's going on in there?
I'll tell you. This one right here is right after they met back up. I think right after Xavier got back from with his girl.
The Shi'ar Empire, or whatever.
Yeah, right when he got back from the Shi'ar Empire, when she got back, right? He got back from it. I don't have that book. Okay. So this book here, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do, man. You always support the channel. I'm gonna give you this comic here. And do you know the key issue behind this comic for free? I'm gonna get to you for free because you always support the channel. I appreciate it. This is the first time Uncanny appeared above the X-Men title. So there you go, buddy. Send me your shipping info. I'll get it to you. I'll send that to you.
Look at that.
For supporting the Paper Chase channel, always. Yep, Dr. Play's got it. Appreciate you. Yep. And I was like, did I get one of these? And I sure enough did. Yeah. First Uncanny. Really, really cool. Really I don't know, you would want to say that's a minor key, but that's the first Uncanny X-Men. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what does it mean? I mean, I've seen the book before and I knew that at one point. But yeah, that's actually really cool because to have that before, it just was like the X-Men title. And is that the first time they ever used a cool X-Men logo too? Or is that been used already?
That was 50.
Okay.
That was the Polaris cover. That gorgeous green and yellow Bill Steranko. Is it Bill Steranko? It's Steranko. Yeah. Polaris cover.
But I mean, look, that X-Men logo is so friggin' iconic,
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. There's a few out there, but that's got to be the number one. I mean, I would say that the old Batman logo for his cover, but he keeps changing them up so much. But I mean, that X-Men will be used for now until the end of time.
Yeah.
There's no reason to change it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's really cool.
Absolutely.
Congratulations, Walk. Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. It's not like super high grade. It's got some spine wear on it for sure. But I mean,
what would you grade it?
What I would grade it? I would grade it a 5.5, 6.0, 5.5, 6.0.
I would grade it a book you didn't own and now you do.
Yeah, it's cool. I really like the meaning. Whenever I was going through older, when I started buying some collections, and I came across that as that's what this key is. I was like, oh wow. I was like, that is really cool. I kind of just stared at the cover for a while. I was like, that's it. That's where it happened for the first time. Kind of neat.
I love that.
Rev has my address. I'm cool with him passing it along. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, man. I thank you for your support. You're always hanging out, and thank you.
Hooray!
All right, what else we got? We want to talk.
Well, you know what's coming up.
What? Ahsoka?
We're clearing up the hour here, so yeah, you know what's coming up. I'm all caught up. So listen, everybody who's into Star Wars, put your Star Wars hat on. And if you haven't seen the show, don't go. But if you have to go because we're going to talk the Ahsoka right through here. So all the Star Wars fans, stick around. Actually, everybody stick around. Fuck. But
Yeah.
take it away, Johnny. I just need to know what you thought.
Oh, I
and then
love it.
I'll
I love it. I'm giddy. I'm giddy, man. I love it. Last week's.
Look at
So
you.
we haven't talked. We haven't talked since the two biggest episodes, which the ratings on episode 5, which the rating on IMDb is still like a 9.5, and then episode 6 yesterday's was or day before yesterday was amazing, dude. I fucking loved that episode. The tone, the lore, the trueness to the characters, like everything about that was perfect. I've watched it I think 5 or 6 times already on repeat.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I just have it playing in the background.
That's almost as many times as you've seen. What's that other movie?
Titanic.
Oh god!
Titanic.
How many was that again?
Huh? 7.
How many times?
In theaters. 7 times in theaters. Hey, I did it for my girlfriend.
Yeah, you definitely did. You definitely did. Oh man, I hope she did it for you. Okay, so yes. Jono, if you're in here, get in here. Fingers and toes, make sure you pipe up. Also, Emily, here we go. Look, it started great. I was really into it. I thought it was good.
You talking about last week's episode?
Okay, so last week's episode was
well, let's go in order. Let's go from episode 5.
All right, so this is where she jumped on the hyperspace whales. You know, like only a few things here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Anakin, I get it, whatever. And you've talked about some of because we talked in person on the phone about it a little bit, and I get the whole, her fighting him. I didn't understand how there was really no resolution between her and Anakin. He was asking her a bunch of questions, and she just basically said, "I choose to live," which we knew she didn't want to die. Does that mean she wants to train and be a Padawan trainer person now? Like,
it's a few,
she really
did a few things.
She didn't really answer any of the questions there. I understand the idea of having Hayden Christensen in, and he was enjoyable to watch. Stilted acting and everything, whatever. Probably a great guy. And I'm not going to pick it apart. The only thing that I thought was kind of weird, or one thing I didn't like, is the fact that Chop had like nothing to do in this episode. I really just need something with him every episode now. I need Chopper cursing us out under his robot breath and doing something cool. He didn't do that. He was just a remote control droid in this one. I know I shouldn't be annoyed by that kid Jason, but I kind of am. I shouldn't be. It's wrong, but I kind of am.
Yeah, he's. Keep going.
And then the very last thing. Listen, we understand she's going to live, Ahsoka, but what I also can understand is like just as a parent, the very bad parenting of Syndulla to like just leave her kid on the cliff and go flying around. I mean, like, put your child in the ship with you and then fly around out there. She literally just left him on a cliff. That was weird to me.
He was with Chopper though.
Yeah, what's that droid gonna do, bro?
He's killed thousands of people.
But you know what's gonna happen? It's gonna be a convenient thing,
He's killed thousands of people. So let's go back to the first thing you said. Anakin's lesson to Ahsoka.
All right.
This is, and don't feel like you missed the boat, right? Because there's actually a lot of people that fully don't understand what that message is. And a lot of that is meant to be, I won't say a lot of it, parts of that is meant to be left up to interpretation. But there is a message there. And I'll break it down to you if you want what the message is.
Let's have it.
Okay. So I'm trying to do this in as little words as possible. So the problem with Ahsoka is mentally she's hung up on multiple things she's weighed on, right? So she's weighed on the fact that she abandoned Anakin, okay, and wasn't there to maybe save him from turning to the dark side. A huge guilt, a huge burden, right? She's hung up on the fact that she also feels a dark side within her, that she does not also want to repeat the same steps as Anakin. Nor does she want to teach somebody else and be a failure as a teacher, causing somebody else to go to the dark side, right? To create a villain out of somebody else. So there's a lot of like mental burden that she has. So and remember, Ahsoka's whole thing is she's kind of like in the middle, right? She's kind of like a straight shooter, not quite good, not quite bad. And Filoni this whole season has this samurai, kind of theme to it. And I was thinking of one that she had said, or when they were right at the end of that episode, when they get on the whale, they get in the whale, and they're about to take off, and she's like, I don't know where it's going to go, and she's like, it's better than going nowhere. And I was like, I think there's something to that saying. And I was thinking about it, I was like, it reminds me of something. It reminds me of Miyagi's saying to Daniel-san. He said, when you drive, and he's teaching him about driving, he's like, you drive left side, good. Right side, good. Center, just like grape,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I think that's kind of the lesson that also that Ahsoka is learning in this, is that her whole, perfectly, just being a gray Jedi is kind of like leaving her at a standstill. And she's
explain the gray part, because like you're talking about she's not wearing the gray clothing. I'm just trying to be understanding.
No, like gray Jedi. Like, for instance, like she has so much powers in her, good and dark and light, right? That she doesn't want to tap into either side in fear of becoming like unbalanced. So I feel like she's got darkness in her that she could use to her advantage, which at the end of that fight, when she showed him the Sith eyes, like that's the first you saw her eyes light up. They were yellow. They were Sith eyes.
I did not see that.
Okay.
Her eyes lit up?
Yeah, her eyes lit up. Yeah.
Okay.
So she showed Anakin the Sith eyes and was like, that was kind of like her saying, like, it's in me and I can use it, but I'm going to choose when I use it. And that's the thing. I feel like her kind of being overwhelmed with not going to one full light, full Jedi or full Sith, she's kind of just like disabled herself. And what the lesson was that she learned, that when push comes to shove, like you have to fight and use whatever is in your arsenal to fight for whatever it is that you're fighting for, your life, people you love, the galaxy, whatever it is. And it's also a physical thing as well, like I guess her mental state too. She needed that closure with Anakin to really feel more like she had a purpose. And then also by having that closure with Anakin, probably gave her more of a will to live. The fact that she now is centered mentally and can say, okay, I know how to do this now. She can go and train Sabine properly. So now she has something to train. She has to look forward to. So there's multiple lessons, I guess is what my point is. There's multiple lessons that were not done there. And I think they were done beautifully. I really do.
Well, like I said, I mean, again, please understand. I'm catching up. I'm season 2 of Rebels, and like I said, Ahsoka's really not like in the show that much all the way now. But sure. Okay, so moving forward to Tuesday's episode. Okay, so my initial take was I was very excited for it. I just knew Thrawn had to be in it, and we got I guess like the people who were like super hot to trot are super excited because they got Thrawn and they got Ezra. So listen, like that girl Sabine Wren just can't get out of her own way. It's just like she's just keeps screwing up. But let's address what everybody said earlier today. Jono texted me, asked me what I thought. I said, "Hey, I saw it," and he texted me back, "Fat Thrawn," And look, here's the deal here. I thought about that when he said it, and I have ultimate respect for that guy. But I didn't know what I wanted from him. I mean, did I want there to be some climactic conclusion where Thrawn's hair is all messed up and he's holding somebody over the edge of a cliff yelling at him? I don't think he's that guy. I don't think he's like a fight, like pew, 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 pew with lightsabers. I think he's just a tactical mind that just messes you up and you get so frustrated because you can't get to him. Yeah. So if that's the case, he can be a clean shaven, slick back hair, paunch kind of guy. Just to wear those dumb pants because he doesn't ride a horse. But that's what he's, but like I still felt the gravitas from Thrawn. I really like the idea that it's completely confusing because there's now magic in the Star Wars universe, and there literally could be like dragons. And I wouldn't at this point now. I'm like,
there was dragons back in the day.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't even know where we are with this whole thing. So
it's beautiful. The lore gets more like medieval as you kind of go back. There's more magic. There like that Dawn of the Jedi comic run that I'm reading right now. There's Rancor dragons. Rancor, the thing that Luke fights in the beginning of Return of the Jedi and Boba Fett rides on in the Boba Fett show. the big old
Okay,
monster.
yeah.
But
Okay.
there's basically dragon way back in the day. There's dragon versions of those things. So yeah, it's mystical and mythical, and I fucking love that direction. Because why not? Because
I'm fine
why
with that.
not?
I
It's done so well too.
I like the Cirque du Soleil stormtroopers. I thought that was a nice touch with all their little individual ribbons they all had all over them. Their little golden red ribbons all over the place.
Now you know what all that was, right?
Just flash. I don't know
No,
what.
no, that's all. Those are all dead stormtroopers. They're all walking. It's an
Oh,
army of the dead, and those ribbons are holding them together. That's why they introduced Marok the way that they did, to show that the Night Sister magic can resurrect, reanimate a dead person, and that's the whole reason why that character was created,
uh-huh.
to show us that that's a thing, because that's what those stormtroopers are. They're army of the dead.
I didn't know they were dead. I guess I got to read the second and third book to
And
figure
dude,
that out.
that's what I thought was so creepy, because that's the first thing I thought of when I saw them. And so when you watch Rebels, like, I mean, obviously you know this is gonna happen in Rebels, but
Don't say it. Don't
but
speak
no,
it.
I mean, like when that spaceship, when that giant star cruiser gets whisked away by the whales, the Purgle, I mean, it's a massive like thing that's happening. So all those stormtroopers got fucking annihilated, dude. Their bodies probably went flying everywhere. I mean, they were
Wait a
probably
minute. How do they
hundreds of
die?
thousands of
What do you mean? How do they die? By getting whisked away?
well, you got to watch the end of Rebels, but basically, you know, the Purgles took them at the end. That's how they're. That's how they're in the place
Well,
of
how? And this is I literally cracked beers with Emily and Fingers and Toes on Saturday and tried to figure out why Ahsoka wasn't swallowed by that whale when it hit hyperspace. You know, like
She was. Yeah, they went in the mouth. The way that
mm,
Ezra and Thrawn get taken away is not the same way.
okay, cool. I'll read into that. So let's continue to dissect here.
Yeah,
So I was completely fine. Again, I've been watching this with my wife, and I really just like I kind of like I'm sitting in the sofa, and I turn to side eye her to see if she's swallowing what's being given to her,
yeah,
as far as like the show, and she was mostly fine with it, and I knew the parts that she was going to balk, and I balked too. So Sabine gets kicked out, and they're like, "Here are your weapons," and my wife's like, "Why are they giving her weapons back?" Well, she's not a threat.
yeah.
Anyway, so she goes out, and then they send the other two Jedis after her. Why are they going? Because they think that Thrawn's not going to leave them. Okay, cool, understood. So Sabine goes out, and kind of for no reason at all, she gets attacked. And her transponder, her find Ezra meter gets broken. Here's where it gets kind of weird to me. Okay, like now she's berating this creature that, like, in the scene before was like this snarling, like
Yeah.
frothy beast. It was, and now we're all of a sudden we're in now we're in like a what is the never ending story kind of
Yeah.
mood. Like now it's just a dumb creature that like just wants her attention and affection, and she's like, "No, you idiot! Think about what you've done wrong, and we're gonna walk together. Stay with me, Johnny."
Yeah.
So now she's walking with this creature that she should be riding, and they happen to walk a long time. Really, they just walk the whole time. And so now it's like her sidekick person, and they walk, and the creature starts drinking water. And dude, listen, just what the hell, dude? All of a sudden, the Fraggles are in this show. Little Muppets pop out of nowhere. Little well-dressed people under shells, like
Yeah, well dressed. That's my
I
favorite
mean,
part.
dude, like what?
Well
I mean,
dressed.
here's the problem I have with this. And listen, again, I enjoyed the episode. I appreciate it for what it was. I thought that like maybe the people at Disney are kind of like, all right, we blew up their transponder and we filmed that. Oh, how is she gonna find Ezra? Oh, we're gonna like make her walk into this little valley where she's gonna see like little snail folks who like acknowledge the fact that she's got the insignia on her, and so they stay with me.
Yeah.
I'll only be another minute. And then they just walk for a long time. Once again, she's not riding the creature that's meant to be ridden. And they walk to this place where she then tells the creature that wants to eat the other little snail people to stay put. Where she continues to walk in this village, looking at nothing. She's just looking at people working.
Yeah.
And then she turns, and I swear to you, man, there stands Aladdin. Like I was like, Ezra Bridger looks like Aladdin all over the place.
He does.
And then Ezra says, he goes, "Thank you for finding me and coming and getting me. I know this was all not pointless now."
Yeah.
And she literally in her mind has to go like, oops. Because she literally everything he did to save the world, she just undid it to go find him and bring him back to have to do it all again.
Well, not quite. No, no, she definitely saved them from a greater evil. Palpatine, Emperor Palpatine, Palpatine and Vader, I promise, are a bigger threat than Thrawn. Thrawn is going to be the next biggest threat now,
Mm-hmm.
but Palpatine and Vader. I mean, Palpatine was the most powerful Sith user ever. The small gold ship was the fucking best. Is there something with the Night Sisters in gold? Yes. So the gold repairs is a samurai tradition, like with their armor and things like that. The gold, but then also if you look at the Night Sisters, you know when they're in their little I don't know, spooky area with the monoliths all over the place. Those have gold in them as well. So I'm thinking like it's an homage to samurai, culture and things like that. But I also think it's probably some sort of metal that's indicative to that part of the planet or something like that.
And look, you clicked it off, and what Jono said about the little gold ship when it breaks away and flies down. Jono's right. That was a cool scene. It's just like it's cutting through all the turbulence and things like that. And there's like the rain on the window. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, all the very first Star Wars movies, like everything took place in outer space. It was dark. And then remember when the first movie with Rey, what is it called? The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
How cool was that scene when she's like in the Millennium Falcon in the desert in the daylight and it's just flying around and it feels so real.
Yeah.
And she's going in. That's like when that little gold ship broke off and flew. I was like, oh man, it's like I feel like that's like 5 years away from happening. The way it looked and felt.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. I liked the witches. I thought that was good. Again, it was an enjoyable episode, and I have to remind myself that it's friggin' a space story. So I'm not going to yell about little hermit crab Muppets,
dude. But exactly that the hermit crab Muppets is might be the most Star Warsy thing in that entire episode. Those little things, Star Wars like thing in that entire episode, dude. Dude, it is.
With you.
It's written proof George Lucas made Star Wars to damn near for children and also to sell toys. Those things are part of Star Wars culture. There's gonna be weird little creatures and they're fun.
My wife said, she goes, "Oh, okay. Here is this show's little small creature that you can make into a stuffed animal." And she's dead on right. Every Star Wars show has to have a little cute character that you can make into a stuffed animal. They're like, oh, well, it's been a while. Let's make this weird little finely dressed man come out of a little shell and, speak broken English, kind of like Jar Jar Binks.
They're also similar. They look like they could be like, so you know how the crazy thing about this episode is the biggest takeaway is that their Thrawn is fleeing a greater power. Like, what are they scared of, right? That's the big question at the end of this episode. What are they scared of?
That's what Balin said, yeah.
So that power there. So another thing, too, is in the Dawn of the Jedi comics, there's an old species called the Rakatans who actually look like they could be a similar. They're definitely much larger, but if you look at from an evolution standpoint, or maybe a relation in the species chain, they look like they could be related to those little crab people. The Rakatans are crazy powerful with the dark side of the Force, and they could maybe they could be that big power. Who knows? The Na'vi, those are.
I want them to be the people that everybody are afraid of. The Na'vi,
Can you imagine that's the big threat?
But look, Ezra. Listen, so Ezra finally, you kind of look if we're looking at production and things like that. Ezra looked good. His whoever's playing him looks good in the role. He looked good. I'm excited to see him further the role. I didn't realize his strange eye color was supposed to be the thing, but I guess it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I'm gonna keep watching. How many episodes are there supposed to be anyway?
There's 2 more.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, look, these are going to be really good then. No more staring off into space and things like that. We're going to get them all.
Oh, man. This could be crazy.
Let me ask you a question. And where is Zeb? Is he not going to show up?
Zeb is very expensive to CGI, I'm sure.
I'm just saying, where's he at?
I think he would show up, and I'm touched that you just said that too.
Ah,
I like
like
that.
like impressed that I knew who I'm talking about.
Like, yeah, but
Okay, well,
with conviction, like, hey, where's this cool Star Wars character that I
hey,
like?
we gotta get the crew together here. We gotta get the gang back, man. Look at if this is Rebels season 5, which it very much feels that
Yeah.
way. Then let's have everybody there.
I was hoping like I was theorizing that by the end of episode 8, the final episode, that there's going to be a shot of all of them, the original crew in the Ghost, just like one big fan service fuck sandwich. That sounded a little.
Yeah. What did we say about vulgarity, Johnny? And here you are.
If you say it with a smile, you can say anything. But yeah, that would be a really cool final. But the thing is, I don't think this season's not going to end well. It's going to be an Empire Strikes Back ending, and it needs to be an Empire Strikes Back ending. The bad guys need to win at the end of this.
I agree, 100%. I agree. I need Thrawn to really just ruin people for a while, so we all just hate Thrawn.
Wait, dude. Wait, we didn't get dive in front of. So you think he's fat? I mean, I'm not disagreeing.
Well, I no. You know what? Go after Jono. He's the one who said he was fat.
No, and Crystal did too. And no, he's got a little belly. But here's what I say to that. I mean, and it depends on your level of, like, I guess, annoyance by it. Like, if you're like, oh, haha, look, he's got a little belly, that's fine. But there are people I've seen out there online that are like, oh, but like just really upset about it. We got Lars Mikkelsen to play fucking Thrawn. Like, we got the dude who voiced, like, the number one thing about this character is his voice. And we're lucky enough that the dude is still living to play him, and he plays him amazingly. That dude could have a little bit more of a belly, and I wouldn't care. His acting is on point, dude. He is so perfect. I'm grateful that we fucking got him.
His eyes look cool. His demeanor was good. Like, again, like I said, I mean, like, what do we expect the guy to be? He's obviously a little bit older, and I know that somebody I saw on Instagram had a thing where it said like, what we wanted, what we got. But listen, again, like, he's not going to be hand-to-hand combat somebody. He's there for his brain. He's there for his intimidation factor. I first met Thrawn because somebody was walking into his room and he was looking at art. So I mean, like, that's one of the first book I read. I was like, I was like taught to know that he was a brain, somebody to work. So I mean, I don't think he's going to fight anybody, and I don't think he's going to die. I think he's going to be just pissing people off for decades. Hopefully,
he is a brain. He typically is so far ahead that nobody has a chance to even put their hands on them. Though he is highly trained in hand-to-hand combat. Like, if he has to throw down, like, he can. But I don't think, because of his age, I don't think that that's going to happen in this show. And it should happen. He's doing fine.
He seems like that guy. Like, if you come after him with like an axe or a knife, he may have like a little spoon in his hand, and like you're swinging at him, he's hitting in your head, going boop, boop, boop. Like, and just pissing you off more and more and more.
I feel like if you were to come after him with an axe or a knife, he's probably already poisoned the handle that you've grabbed it.
He opens the door and there's my wife and kids. He's like, please sit down, enjoy your dinner. He'll treat me to a nice dinner and some nice wine, and then he'll say, now do we fight? And you're like, I can't fight you. I'm just gonna go in this cell and just wait. Like, because I don't think he can beat him. I think that he's a strong character. I really look. What's that?
All right, go. I know. Whenever you're done, I just want to pull something up.
Oh, I'm done, buddy. Let's go to the clip.
No, this. I literally thought when I saw Thrawn's like little belly and how much these Night Sisters love him, I'm like, he's banging these Night Sisters.
Holy shit, Johnny, shame on you.
I'm like, what? I'm like these. Okay, Thrawn's very smart, but these ladies have crazy magic. I'm sure they could do something to overtake Thrawn. So it's like, why do they like him so much?
Wow, you're just like, simping on Thrawn here a little bit, huh? He's eating well and he's treating the ladies right, huh?
Right? Yeah, that was a little fun side quest. Old Man Rex would definitely be cool.
Did you say side quest? Side quest?
What else we got? Mr. Miyagi type shit. Yeah.
That's two Mr. Miyagi references in one show. We're doing okay.
Yeah, oh yeah. But yeah,
I didn't
it's gorgeous.
have a problem with him. He's fine. The witches are cool. Again, I'm not in the Star Wars lore. I don't know. So I'm watching it with like a subjective eyes to it. So I'm just kind of. It was good. I enjoyed it. I don't care if he's fat.
Yeah, I love the tone, man. The tone of that episode was so good. Just so dark, gothic, like a kind of like just good. Just medieval, like it just touches on so many like fantasy. It's like a great little gumbo pot of like medieval samurai. It can get Western for sure, but heavy samurai, heavy medieval, heavy like dungeons, and starting to get like on a Dungeons and Dragons level, and space Star Wars. Like,
yeah, his ship was cool as hell, man. It's all torn up with the big whatever, like dragon on the bottom of it,
Yeah, dude, all the golden repairs on it, so cool. And that was an homage shot to the opening of A New Hope. That's the first shot of Star Wars 1, the giant Star Cruiser panning over the top of the screen, because nobody had ever seen that before. And that's why that shot blew minds, because that ship kept on going,
That was cool. It was just very cool.
And they kind of homaged that. That was nice homage.
Let's see here. Plagueis, I'm asking you, what's your Instagram, if you don't mind? If you can put it out here.
Anything has the small thing that can be a stuffed animal, though. Absolutely, yeah. Oh, yeah. That meme that I made. You saw that meme I made?
Oh no! What was it? What?
Let's see. It was funny.
Yes, the Chimera. I even knew the name. I even was all like, "Ooh, the Chimera! Look at me!"
How do I do this?
Oh yeah,
every Star Wars theorist right now, dude. And then one of my buddies, Hood Rat Comics, fun dude, knows a lot about Star Wars, probably more than I do. He's his channel. Go check him out. He's got some good content over there. He's like, that dude was made to sell toys, and I was like, you're 100% right. I said they had the Stormtrooper mold laying around the factory. You slap a Rock'em Sock'em face on top of that, and then boom, printing money.
That dude turned around. I was like, oh, whoa, okay. He's got a little face.
Cool, dude. I was like, yes. I was like, this is what it's like, I don't know. They can do anything, and so many fans will be pleased if it's done well, because that's the thing with this new galaxy, like we were saying earlier, there's no expectations in this new galaxy. So when we see weird shit like this, everybody's just kind of like open to it and accepting of it. As long as
will we see blood? Will we see blood? Will we see something bleeding?
Maybe.
Don't they like not show blood in Star Wars or something like that? Disney doesn't show blood or something.
Yeah.
There's something to it,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So something that caught me off guard when I first saw it was the Force Awakens, when what's his name, Finn, the very first scene where they're at that little village and like they shoot up that village.
Yeah.
I never thought Star Wars would do that, and I thought that was insane. Let
me tell you, the Force Awakens trailer. I'm gonna say something crazy here.
Crazy.
I might get a lot, but keep in mind, I'm not a sequel fan. I don't think many people are, but the Force Awakens trailer might be the best Star Wars trailer ever. If you go back and watch that, and forget what happens after, we all know it was a fucking train wreck. But after I saw that trailer, there was like, you talking about hitting the vagus nerve. I was like, this is some of the greatest shit I've ever seen, ever. Best trailer ever. That is, and still to this day, I've watched that trailer and I'm like, it's an amazing trailer. It's just a straight up amazing trailer.
Now I got to watch the stupid trailer.
Let's watch it. You want to watch it right now?
No, I want to know what this Disney 1500 collection is. What is he talking about here? Walker, you playing as hardcore? What is this question?
$100 collection. $1,500 collection.
I don't know. Is somebody else? I don't know if he's giving us the walk or not. All right, show us the trailer and then get us out of here, Johnny.
Music, yeah. Okay.
Let's all be fan people and watch the trailer. With no music, right?
No, we'll play it. No, then you have to have the music. That's why that damn trailer is so good.
Oh, okay. Breaking the law.
We might not get monetized, but that's all right. Star Wars.
Oh God. $1,500. I mean, if it's 100 movies, that's not bad. All right, are we ready?
No.
You know what's something about that I'm watching Rebels? They almost like play the songs to a lot of those like the Star Wars hits. The the Jedi sounds. They almost get into a lot of them, but don't. And I'm glad. I don't want to keep hearing the same songs over and over and over. All right, what you got?
Hold on, I'm getting it. I'll make sure it's okay.
We're gonna watch a trailer for a movie that came out 10 years ago.
We're gonna watch a trailer for one of the worst rated movies that came out 10 years ago. If anybody's new, it had promise, but no, now it's not. Now it's not good. If anybody's new, we're watching the Force Awakens trailer because it's one of the best Star Wars trailers that there was.
If anybody's new, welcome to Into the Void, where we just watch old trailers and talk about them.
Dude, let me tell you, that's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea.
We'll just get banned every other week.
No, you can watch trailers. You just can't play the music, but we will on this one. All right, hang tight. Let me try to fix this. Right,
okay.
This is the one we need to share. Okay. Tell me if you can hear this.
Yep.
You can?
Yep.
Let's roll.
Make it big. Let's go.
Imagine nothing after this movie happened. Greatest Star Wars trailer ever.
Who are you?
I'm no one.
I was raised to do one thing. But I've got nothing to fight for.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
There are stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it. The dark side. The Jedi. They're real.
The Force. It's calling to you. Just let it in.
Dude, you can't tell me that's not the best Star Wars trailer ever. That is.
I don't know. Let's watch them all. I'm just kidding. The Clone Wars trailer.
That is amazing. It's again, if you just walked in on that, we weren't glorifying the sequels. We're glorifying how great of a trailer that was and how much promise that had. And it really is just a beautifully made trailer. Unfortunately, it didn't go well.
Why can't they just do like the Clone Wars again? I mean, it's something else. I mean, now that they can
because Star Wars because they need to progress like that.
Oh, I agree, but I mean, like, I just feel like there could be more to that. Like we watched Ahsoka, like little Ahsoka grow. They could do some sort of like little. Anyway, no, you're right. I'm 100% new galaxy, new growth.
Yeah,
go. You know,
but and what's great is like with the last episode 5, when they're doing all of this cool new stuff. And it's all done correctly. And then at the end of the episode, they bring in "May the Force be with you." When Hera says that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, dude, it hits you because it reminds you, it's like not only you're having a good time, but you're watching Star Wars. Like it's Filoni.
There it is. All
okay,
right.
We're gonna wrap it up there. Happy Star Wars, everybody.
Give yourself a hand, everybody. Thank you, Chad. Appreciate it. Always. We don't take it for granted. We really do appreciate you guys. All the input is so good. It moves it along, and we enjoy hearing what you guys have to say.
Yeah,
congratulations, Intense Ewok. Look, we had some new faces I hadn't seen before. Dr. Plagueis, thank you for popping in here. There's a few more that I hadn't seen before. So thank you so much. Drew, the comic guru, is always great to see you.
Toes.
You know it. The shout out here at the end. Let me see. I'm kind of scrolling up here. Jono, you know it. Great to see you always. Who am I missing? There's a guy at the very beginning here. I apologize.
It was
good name. I'm missing it here.
Lonnie.
You. Yes, thank you. Yes, Lonnie, absolutely. Thank you for being in here and sharing your stories of the kids or something like with the granddaughter. Was that him, Lonnie?
Yeah, his granddaughter. He
He
wants to give his comments to his granddaughter. 68-year-old, been collecting
yeah,
for a long time.
Yeah, we have much to learn from that guy, I'm sure.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So, anyway, all right, here we go. You guys have a great one. We'll see you next Thursday. Hey, look, during the week, think about things that you want to beef with us on and talk about. Here we are.
Yeah, think about something you want to argue about, definitely do that.
Find us on Instagram, comment on Johnny's videos when he drops them. You can go back and comment on other ones. We look at it and we'll bring it up.
This one's out there. This pissing people off. Watch it if you haven't. Maybe it'll make you angry too. And then
pissing people off.
Yeah, and then the new one, and then next one coming out might be Tuesday or so. So yeah, hit the like on the way out. Thank you guys. Love y'all. See y'all later.
Bye y'all.